Let me ask you a question.
You are from Jordan, yeah? But if I stand here and insist, no, you're not from Jordan, you're from Pakistan, what would you think?
2,000 years ago, the people in Palestine spoke 4 languages and could read them and write them, for God's sake. Anyway.
Let's go back to the simple thing. Please explain to me how, in your view, Jesus was a Muslim. Jesus a Muslim. How do you do that? Please explain to me with historical backing.
You won't believe it because it's in our religion.
No, I don't care about your religion. Please give me a historical backing. Who cares about your religion? Your religion comes from a tiny part in the world, came towards the end of all the major religions, and you want to establish supremacy across the world.
You want me to check
Historically,
there is no evidence. There is no evidence historically, and read it in a book. You're gonna ask me for a book to read. Read it in a book. The Bible on earth. The Bible on earth. I'm quoting you. Historically, there is no evidence of the Exodus. There's no evidence that there was an Abraham. There is no evidence.
Can you give me details? Can you give me details?
No, go and read it. You want to read?
Give me.
Read it.
Are you convinced reading that book?
Yes, I'm convinced.
Please give me evidence. Please give me some details.
Written by 2 Jewish professors in Israel.
Can you name me one?
They're archaeologists.
Can you name one of them?
There is. Can give you one. Yes.
Israel Finkelstein.
Yeah, Finkelstein.
Yeah, good. So now we have some names. Can we get on to some details?
Yes.
Can you give me? I know there are views like that.
No historical evidence.
Oh, wow. There are some guys like him who say certain things,
Okay, so
but what he says doesn't suddenly become the overarching truth for everyone on the face of the earth. If you are going to suggest that Israel never had an exodus, can you provide evidences or reasons to back that up?
They provide evidence.
I can provide evidences to say they are wrong. There are scholars who can provide. Precisely. In other words, there are people with all sorts of views there. Now let's go back to the simple thing. Please explain to me how, in your view, Jesus was a Muslim. Explain, please.
Explain to me. You asked me for a historical evidence, and there is no historical evidence whatsoever. You claim.
Now I'm saying that is wrong. I can give you plenty. I can give you plenty to establish the historicity even of the Old Testament. I can give you plenty, but let's go to that a bit later. Firstly, can we deal with the previous question? How would you establish Jesus to be a Muslim? How do you say that? Historically.
You say.
No, please tell me this.
I cannot prove it because there is no historical evidence about Christ at all.
That is not true. That is not true. That's a. Now wait a second. So you began. This is sort of the 4th or 5th major points. None of which.
At least 100 years after Christ.
Which one? The P52 I showed you.
No, they're all of them. And they were
the P52 that I showed you. When
over and over again.
What?
They were modified lots of times.
The P52 that I showed you. Where was this? So can you show me the modification in this manuscript, please?
Jesus the man. Have you read?
No, excuse me. Don't throw me the names of books. Give me reasons. Don't throw me
for evidence. I'm giving you evidence.
Naming names is not giving evidence, my dear friend.
The evidence, so you say no.
Show me what particular thing was changed in this manuscriptal fragment.
Another book.
No. You're telling me one point after another, none of which you can back up. The point now is, on what basis do you dare to claim that Jesus was a Muslim? On what basis do you dare? This is a serious thing. Removing.
Answer his question.
Now, for example,
You have things mixed up.
now, for example, where are you from, my dear friend?
I'm from Holland.
You're from Holland, yeah? Where are you?
Wait a second.
No, wait a second.
Let me ask you a question.
You are from Jordan, yeah? But if I stand here and insist, no, you're not from Jordan, you're from Pakistan, what would you think? What do you mean maybe?
You're not telling the truth.
If I told, my point is removing the identity of a person is going against the basic right of a person, and this is very crucial. Jesus accusing him of being a Muslim is now wait a second. Accusing Jesus of being a Muslim without providing a shred of an evidence and only saying that is true purely because you think so or your religion thinks so.
I'm not saying according to you, according to me.
According to history, it is wrong. And therefore, how dare would you wipe out the identity of a person? This is going against...
The history says that there is no Abraham.
He was a human being. He was God eternal who became a human being. He was someone who lived, died, came back alive. In terms of human ethnicity, he was a Jew. Good to see you. But please remember, many of the points that you made are not points which you had backed up. Many of them. You said Jesus spoke only in Aramaic. Wrong. You said the first ever gospel was in Aramaic. Wrong. You said many similar things. None of them is right.
The lingua franca in the Levant was
Greek.
Aramaic.
That's wrong.
Aramaic.
That's wrong. Do you know what the term lingua franca means? Do you know what the term lingua franca means?
Are you archaeologist? Are you professor? Did you research it? Two professors.
Do I need to be a professor to claim a basic fact of history?
Research it.
Do I need to be a professor to claim a basic fact of history? So why do you counterclaim?
The book, and I'm quoting them.
I quoted an even more fundamental book, my dear friend. Do you not remember I read from the book of John, the last passage where I told you in the languages in which the accusation against Jesus was written on the cross. Did I not read to you that particular thing? Let me read that again. Now Pilate wrote a title and put it on the cross, and the writing was, Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews. The many of the Jews read this title for the place much before your Israel Finkelstein's work, where Jesus was crucified, was near the city, and it was written in Hebrew, Greek and Latin. A very strong historical artifact, namely the gospel records of the Bible, give us an indication that Pontius Pilate had a reason why the title he wrote on the cross had to be at least in 3 languages. He wasn't a fool. He wasn't wasting his ink. He wasn't wasting his effort. He wasn't reading some stuff which no one could read. He was writing some stuff which the common men of that time could read. And therefore, that's one historical artifact which you need to get to know, that there were at least 3 languages spoken at that time. Granted that they also spoke Aramaic. But the fact, my speculation as to why he missed out Aramaic was because most of those who would have known Aramaic would have known Hebrew also. And therefore, there was no need to sort of have redundant information. Now,
okay, but just hold your horses.
Coming back.
Hold your horses. I have to go. My kids are.
Good to see you. God's blessings. Good to see you, young man. God's blessings. Yeah. But you need to come back to historical truth.
You say that people.
If someone told you Jesus was a Muslim, you need to turn around and say, you. Someone who doesn't have a clue about history.
For 5 minutes. Just hear me out.
Are you going to come back? So you need to tell whoever tells you that Jesus was a Muslim, I'll give you 0 marks. If whoever told you that, you should say, even if that's your religion, if Islam tells you that, you should turn around and say, Islam, you don't seem to know what you're talking about. You do not seem to know history, and therefore stay somewhere where you're not talking to many people and embarrassing yourself. That's what you need to do.
Don't carry on preaching like that. Don't carry on preaching. There is countries in the world now, you're saying that 2,000 years ago in Palestine, people spoke 3 languages, some of them 4 languages. There's countries in the world today where the illiteracy rate is 70% and 80%. They don't know how to read and write. And you want to convince me that 2,000 years ago that the people in Palestine spoke 4 languages and could read them and write them, for God's sake. Anyway,
they described him they are.
So how precisely was Jesus a Muslim? No idea.
Don't try to prove people
No
wrong.
idea.
Don't try to prove.
Now, how precisely was Jesus a Muslim? No idea.
I'm not trying to prove you wrong.
Can you prove Jesus spoke Greek?
There were Jews also. There were all sorts of people all over the world.
try to convince Muslims to be good Muslims.
No, there is no
Christians
such thing called good Muslims. No, give up.
A good Muslim,
A good
is the dead
Muslim is
one.
someone who gives up on Islam. That's the definition of a good Muslim.